Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Judy Tweet. I run programs and communications for the Pacific Marine Energy Center, or PMEC. And if you don't already know us, I think most everybody does, but we are a research consortium sponsored by the Department of Energy. Our mission is to responsibly advance marine energy, and we work across 3 partner universities, so University of Washington, Oregon State University, and University of Alaska Fairbanks. So this is a second in our winter seminar series on deployments. You can find out more information about the upcoming seminars on our newsletter and our LinkedIn page. And today we're excited to offer a seminar about demonstrations with the European Marine Energy Center, or EMEC, by Lily Wain. Lily is the Marine Energy Development Coordinator at EMEC. She supports offshore demonstration projects and collaborative research across the marine energy sector. She works on proposal building, developer engagement, and facilitating across EMEC's testing capabilities. So thank you so much, Lily, for being with us today. And I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Thanks, Judy. And good morning to everyone. My name's Lily Wain, Marine Energy Development Coordinator at EMEC. I have been with EMEC for 2 years, coming up on 2 years, and I've been in the UK for 3 years, but originally I am from Boston, if you can't tell by my accent. You probably will be able to tell by the end of the presentation. So a little bit of background on EMEC for those who might not know. We are a leading test and demonstration facility for wave and tidal energy. We were established in 2003 to kickstart the ocean energy industry in the UK. So over the last 23 years, we've had a very interesting journey facilitating development for the wave and tidal energy sector, both in the UK and globally, which has led us to explore other opportunities in the clean energy industry, including offshore wind, so deep water, floating wind and deep water technologies, alternative offtake solutions, and wider decarbonization initiatives. So a lot of those different areas across the banner on the screen now. So over time, we've developed not only projects within the space, but our infrastructure to be able to support those projects going forward. So today, I'm just going to give you a whistle-stop tour of a lot of the different things that we do, that we have done, and a look ahead to what we are doing in the years to come. So EMEC is based in the Orkney Islands, which is an archipelago off the north coast of Scotland. So this highlighted blue bit here. We have 4 offshore test sites. 2 of them are grid connected. One of them is for wave, which is 7 megawatts, and one of them is for tidal, which is 12 megawatts. And then we also have 2 scale sites. Across all of our sites, they have very distinct environmental conditions with varied sea states, so very harsh waves up to very strong currents. So this enables developers to be able to trial technologies and solutions on the seabed, mid-water column, or floating. We can facilitate all of those. And it could be anything from full-scale wave and tidal energy devices to scaled devices to components, subcomponents, instruments, sensors, materials, anchors, moorings, you name it. So yeah, we can do lots of different things on site. EMEC's mission. So while wave and tidal energy and the provision of test and demonstration infrastructure is still at the core of what we do, we describe ourselves as an innovation catalyst because, as I'll go through, our remit has expanded to include a breadth of other clean energy technologies. And we aim to bring together partners to facilitate innovation and make these projects come to life. So our mission is to reduce the time, cost, and risk associated with progressing those low carbon technologies to market. EMEC itself is a not-for-profit. So when we were established in 2003, we were largely set up with some initial public investment, but have been largely self-sufficient since 2011. 2011. That is through the provision of testing infrastructure, so developers pay berth fees to come to site. Um, Also through consultancy, so sharing our learning, lessons learned, and expertise. And then a large part of the projects that we work on are supported by competitive grant funding. So we find the best way of describing EMEC's marketplace and how we support the companies we work with is helping to bridge the innovation valley of death. So this is the stage between early R&D and wide-scale commercial adoption when the R&D capital requirements are at its highest, yet the commercial returns are not yet realized. So for wave and tidal energy demonstrations, this is a timeline of what we've done in the past and what we're looking to do in the future. So we have hosted more demonstrations at our wave and tidal energy demonstrations at our site than anywhere else in the world. So we've seen 35 devices from 22 developers across 11 different countries. Within that, that includes the first wave energy generation into the national grid in 2004, the first tidal energy generation into the grid in 2008, and the first tidal powered hydrogen generation in 2017. But beyond those big headlines and milestones, we've learned that there's a huge amount of cumulative learning by doing. So figuring out how to install, operate, maintain, and decommission these devices and how they survive in really harsh wave and tidal energy conditions. These companies have really learned a lot about how to reduce the costs and risks associated with offshore deployments. And so it's a very iterative journey that we see. So a perfect example of the iterative journey and the iterative testing is Orbital Marine Power. So for those who don't know, Orbital is an Orkney-based tidal energy company that did their initial sea trials in 2010, followed shortly by their initial sea trial at EMEC in 2011. So this was a 33-meter long device that was rated at 250 kilowatts. And so this device had a design where the rotors could fold up underneath it and it could be towed from site to the port for ease of maintenance. Learnings from that fed into their next design, which was the SR2000, which they demonstrated on site for 2 years. And this was almost double the length. So this was 63 meters and had a rated capacity of 2 megawatts. Now, Orbital is on site with their commercial scale configuration, which is called the O2. So this was should say also, Orbital has designed this device in Orkney. They built it in Dundee, and they have a supply chain of over 150 companies throughout the UK. So it really is demonstrating the strength of the local and national supply chain here. But one of the most notable design changes with this one was that the rotors could be brought up to the sea surface. So they don't need to pull it all the way back to port every time to do maintenance. So regular maintenance can be done there, and that reduces a lot of the cost with the vessels and then the risk in terms of moving it off-site and on-site. So as Orbital is looking forward, we are working with them along with lots of other EU partners to build this out into a multi-device farm through their Eurotides project. So moving on from wave and tidal briefly, I mentioned we host lots of other cool technologies. So you might be familiar with the fact that we hosted Microsoft's subsea data center a few years ago. So when they contacted us a few years back, they were interested in EMEC because we already had the infrastructure in place. They were keen to co-locate with renewables, and they were interested in the cooling effects of the sea to reduce their energy demand. They had originally planned to leave it on the seafloor for only a year, but the trial was going so well that they decided to extend it by a second year. So it was a 2-year deployment in total. At the end of it, they had proved the feasibility of their concept, and they had found that the servers were 8 times more reliable than those on land, um, for reasons like it was filled with nitrogen instead of oxygen, which is more corrosive, and it was like the absence of people bumping into it and things like that. So beyond that, we do lots of other cool offshore demonstration projects. Again, this is just a timeline looking at a lot of them. Obviously, don't have time to go through them all right now. But just to name a few, so we do some work on the environmental monitoring side. So, for example, we worked with Orbital on some acoustic characterization campaigns last summer. We also do resource monitoring. So, the University of Edinburgh demonstrated a convergent beam acoustic Doppler profiler to look at improved flow measurements. We also can support materials testing. So a company worked with us for over 8 years to test high performance subsea coatings. And then we do lots of other technologies, components, and subcomponents like the data center and like moorings. So makes it a very interesting place to work because we see lots of different things coming through. So that is stuff we've done in the past. So what's next? What is coming up in the future? Um, in terms of wave and tidal, we have various projects in the pipeline over the next few years, both demonstrations and arrays. So to run through some of these, starting with wave, we'll read this like a book, so across. So starting on the top left, we have WEDUC, which is the Ocean Energy Project. They are looking to come to Billy Crew. I believe it's a 1 megawatt device. So that's really cool. And then on the right, we have Symphony Wave Power, which is a wave energy company out of the Netherlands. So they received some EU funding through a program called Rise Energy, which is allowing them to come to site. And so they are looking to do a test at Scapa Flow, which is our scale wave site. Now down to the middle left, so we have Core Power. They are a wave energy company looking to build out a wave energy array. So they have signed a birth agreement with us. And as well, they've also just kicked off one of their EU-funded projects called Power Farm. So lots of good momentum on the wave side. Um, Moving on to tidal, we have Nova, who are continuously working on their Sea Star project, which is 4 megawatts and 16 device array. Um, we also have Orbital, which we've talked about, and they are working on building out their 4 device array called Eurotides. And then on the bottom right, we have Magallanes, which is a Spanish tidal energy developer. And at the end of last year, they towed their device back to Spain, and there they're working on their second generation. So that's a picture of what the second generation device will look like. So as the sites get busier, we're also actively working on expanding our consents, our grid capacity, and the infrastructure on our sites to accommodate the growth of the sector on both the wave and the tidal side. So we've also recently launched an EU-funded project to advance subsea components and digital technologies for ocean energy arrays. It's called Forest, which is a not so aptly named ocean energy project, despite our best efforts. But it will demonstrate a 33 kV super dynamic cable, a subsea connection hub and quick connector system, and optical measurement platform to monitor cable health and optimize array performance. So just a look at some of the critical technologies that we can support on site that can work well with ocean energy devices. What else? Because it doesn't stop there. Um, we have also been pursuing the development of a deep water test site since the early 2020s, in early 2020. And we've selected a site that's about 20 kilometers off the west coast of Orkney, so it's just a bit further out than our wave energy test site. This site and location has been selected because it has very similar mid-ocean conditions as the other leased wind sites around the UK and Europe. So it will be used to test and validate floating offshore wind as well as other deep water technologies. We also last year announced the International Blue Economy Robotarium, which is a consortium that consists of ourselves, various academic partners within the UK, the local supply chain, local research partners, and the National Robotarium. So the aim here is to build on Orkney's unique marine environment and local expertise to establish Orkney as a hub for marine robotics, AI, and autonomous solutions. So it's still very early days for this, but there's a lot of good buzz around the Blue Robotarium at this point in time. So the maybe the lesser known side of our business is the integration side of our business, but it often marries well with our offshore generation side because we can show how, or we aim to show how renewables link with alternative offtake solutions. So in the picture on the top left there, that is our Caldale site, which is right next to our tidal site. And that is home to our substation, our battery system, and our electrolyzer. So again, last year we were able to demonstrate all three of those together in a very cleverly named 3-in-1 demonstration project, where Orbital generated electricity that powered the batteries system, and then the battery system was used to power the electrolyzer and generate green hydrogen. So that setup was trialed in multiple different scenarios, and it demonstrated the flexibility of an integrated system such as this. We also, last year, were able to show how the hydrogen that we could produce could be used in an end use case. So we completed a trial of a hydrogen-powered combined heat and power unit at the Kirkwall Airport in Orkney, which is the main airport up there. And it was the first time that hydrogen has been used to meet both the heat and power demands of a commercial airport in the UK. So, all to say, there were a lot of firsts last year that were very exciting. So, yeah, that concludes your whistle stop tour of demonstration landscape at EMEC.
Thank you so much, Lily. Super interesting. I want to open it up now for question and discussion, and I'll stop the recording here.